The UAW's contract expires with the big three automakers, Stellantis, GM, Ford, at 11:59 p.m. tonight. So when the clock strikes midnight, and if there is no agreement that is agreed upon, 150,000 auto workers are on the verge of striking. And we've talked about this at length on the show before, but for everybody that is just catching up, at issue are a variety of things. But the heart of it is this thing called COLA, cost of living adjustments. The UAW members have had it in their contract since the 70s. And during the Great Recession, the financial collapse, in order to keep these companies afloat, and I think for a lot of these workers, for them to keep their jobs, they made sacrifices. And COLA, cost of living adjustments, meaning as cost of living increases, so do your wages, so does your pay. They gave that up during the 2008 crash. And the automakers said, don't worry, we promise we will give it back to you in the next contract. Next contract comes, they don't. Contract after that comes, they don't. They just still have not returned the cost of living adjustment. And that is one of the big issues here. They lied after their workers sacrificed to keep the industry afloat. Then another issue here is this tier system. Newer workers are doing the same work for lower wages, and they're on this lower track of benefits that workers who have worked there for longer have. And the newer workers are in this different tier, and based on their contract, they're unable to access those same benefits. So it's about providing benefits across the board and not dividing the workforce in such a way which creates division, and that's part of why they do it. And they're asking for significant wage increases. 46%, I think, is the number over a 4-year period, and a lot of financial news outlets are like, oh, that's too much. But you start from a negotiation point of strength. Like at the beginning, the big three were only offering single-digit percentage increases over that 4-year period. And now they're up to around 20, 18, 17%. So just by that ask, they have increased. And that's why you got to keep the pressure up. More quickly converting part-time workers to full-time. I mean, these are the demands that they're asking for. And they have a right to be as militant as they want, because the big three have a history of breaking promises to them, as I just mentioned when talking about the cost of living adjustment. But here is Representative Rashida Tlaib giving remarks expressing solidarity with the UAW workers planning to strike for a fair contract. And it's especially poignant given her personal experience, as she will lay out, but also due to the fact that she is a representative from Michigan, from the Detroit area. This is near and dear to her heart, and to the people that she represents hearts as well.
Mr. Speaker, I am the proud daughter of the UAW. My family knew the power of being part of a union family. My dad, who came to the United States with only 4th grade education, felt human dignity for the first time when he worked at the Ford Motor Company in Flat Rock on the assembly line and became a member of the UAW. We know this week hundreds and thousands of workers are fighting for a fair contract to support their families. And their current contract, Mr. Speaker, expires at midnight on September 14th. The right to strike in our country is the single most powerful tool to fight corporate greed. In the first 6 months of this year alone, the big three, Ford, Stellantis, GM, made a combined $20 billion in profits. The big three CEOs received a whopping 40% increase in pay, while workers right now, the majority of them, living check by check. Did you all know, I know folks understand, since 1948, every single UAW contract had a cost of living adjustment, COLA. And in 2009, something spectacular happened. Workers came together and helped the big three stay afloat. So they decided to put COLA aside, allowing even the companies to create tier systems. And now in 2023, the contract doesn't have the cost of living adjustment. These are the same workers, Mr. Speaker, that sacrifice so much, and now the Big Three is refusing to have their back when they are struggling. Two workers doing the same job side by side should not be receiving drastically different wages and benefits due to tiers that were put in place during the Great Recession. Tier systems have no place on an assembly line. These companies should not be able to find loopholes to hire supplemental workers just to get away with paying them, just so they can get away with paying them lower hourly wages and no retirement benefits. Mr. Speaker, my dad in the 1980s vested in health benefits and the benefits just within 90 days. There was no 5, 6, 7, 8, and I even met a young girl who said it took her dad 10 years to get on top of that tier. Folks don't realize the majority of the UAW workers in our country does not have a pension today. It's 2023. Auto workers should be able to retire with dignity. Every worker deserves guaranteed pension, health care when they retire. The Big Three needs to value their own workers more than they value the profits and their own CEO pay increases. They need to do what's right. They have record profits, and that should result in record contracts.
They do have record profits, as she mentioned there. GM, Ford, Stellantis have okayed $5 billion in stock buybacks in the last year. $5 billion in stock buybacks. And that's not providing any value to anybody except for the people who already own an insane amount of that stock. And that's for the CEOs and the executives at these companies. And then they'll still claim that they don't have the ability to pay their workforce. They'll threaten in public to send jobs overseas to Mexico, all while benefiting from the branding. And Stellantis is Fiat Chrysler, they merge, but they still, based on like their public facing brands, have this association with being American made. You want to be American made? Deal with American unions, pay American workers, pay your workforce. So it just is as clear as day what should be happening here. And this is an enormous moment. Sean Fain has not reneged on his aggressive posture, and it is appropriate in this time. Why would any of the rank and file or leadership in the union trust what the Big Three have to say in this instance based on their history of broken promises? And it's not just that. That's a lesson to anybody in a union dealing with management. You ask for more and you use your power to get what you want. So it is immensely important what we're seeing right here. We will have more details about what the strike entails as the hours and days pass. If a strike does happen, although it seems quite likely at this point, and there has been a plan for how to execute it in a systematic way that we can get into once tomorrow. Once we reach tomorrow and we have official word on this, but this is a historic moment, and as always, solidarity with all the striking workers and all the unions across this country, the UAW especially in this moment.